What's up guys, we're doing the next community build video today on Tactical Tism's CQBR. Yes, it's another CQBR, but to be honest, it's the cheapest base platform to get, so it's probably the most easy one to kind of like grab because they're always readily available. Barrel's already inside here, so it's got a new maple leaf Crazy Jet barrel, which literally goes all the way, I'm not going to screw that, all the way to the tip here. It's just the flash hider. It has got a Flamingo 60° in there already installed and a strike arm in the hop unit, as well as the Jaeger Precision Z plate in here. So first of all, we are going to do a quick chrono test as is, without what I'm going to do to the bolt carrier, just to give a rough kind of guide of what it's going to be like. So this is loaded up with 0.32s, and because it's cold, I'm running black gas in pretty much everything because it's kind of needed. So pop this in here, chrono here. Let's load this up with the right amount. 3 twos, right, 3 twos there. I've done a classic trick of duct taping a pillowcase to the chrono so the BBs don't go everywhere. But other than that, that's completely stock. So let's get the reading first of all so we know what we're working with. Okay, right. So out of the box with that barrel, we are at, see that? 1.22 joules. So slightly over. Obviously with green gas, it's probably going to be under the limit. But what we are going to be installing is, we've got the Guns Modify nozzle here. We've got a Dynamic Precision return spring to get rid of the wafty TM1 that's in there. And we also have a Ratec M-Pass going in there as well. These tried and tested M-Passes, they are not the go-to for a lot of people. I quite like them because once you've kind of set them, they don't seem to move at all. So I rate them. That'll be going in there. We'll also be swapping out the buffer spring for a 110% buffer spring in the back. And we're going to be short stroking the buffer tube using some Jaeger pucks at the back of it as well. So I'm just going to put in a fresh mag before we go any further and do a quick rate of fire test. Right, so we are about 16.2 for the rate of fire, which isn't bad, but I would like it to be a little bit more snappy. I'm just going to make sure that my mag's ready here. So I've loaded up a couple of test mags of my own. This is the customer one, which is nice and clean in comparison. So to start off, boom, crack this bad boy open. Get to what I need, which is this. Do notice the TM bolt carrier group from factory, they are covered in grease. Like, there is a lot of grease on these, so you want to get rid of all that. Get rid of all the crap that's on there. You don't want it to be working its way up into your hop unit and giving you hopping consistencies. So that's that on there. Bosh. Pop this over here and that there. So first of all, we have to take this apart. And obviously there's a lot of videos out there which is a bolt carrier group taken apart and new bits installed. So what I'm going to quickly do is I'll pause here, undo all this so you don't have to watch me unscrewing it all, and I'll start getting to work on these parts. So back in 2. Okay, so that's broken down now. So we've taken out everything from the bolt carrier group. So you've got your nozzle here, it's the stock TM one. That's got the top, and the nozzle return spring, the stock TM one is there. So this is the bit that causes people the most problems. So we're swapping that out. Put these on the side. This one is going to be straight out replaced with this, which is the Guns Modify nozzle. We're going to be installing the Ratec M-Pass, which is this, into this nozzle, so you can adjust the FPS up or down depending on where you're playing, or depending on the time of year, because obviously if it gets too hot, even green gas in the summer can put you over the limit, so you want to be able to adjust that down a little bit. And then we'll be putting in the dynamic precision return spring into the nozzle as well. This bit is probably the most frustrating bit because you have to get two little pins out of here. There's one in the back, which you can just punch out really easily. But there is a really annoying small metal roll pin in here, which is a sod, which does require popping it into one of these. This is a little vise that I bought off Amazon. This is so handy, it saves you digging into your side or hand or whatever you're hammering into to pop this pin out. And then we'll just stick in the new spring straight onto that. I'm gonna do that now, and then I'll get back to the next part of the video once that bit's done, because no one's gonna want to watch me sit here for 10 minutes trying to knock a pin out. Right, so that's all put back together. New spring into here. Now we need to reassemble the new nozzle. So this is the Guns modified one. The older one here is the TM one, which has a slight spring in it. It's not needed, don't need that, that can go to the side. So first we have to put in the MK2, which sits on this little spring here, which goes straight in there. I tend to get a screwdriver just to pop it in, make sure it's still springy, it's still sitting in there nicely. Then this bit here goes into here. You want to make sure this hole marries up with the hole on there because it has a small retaining pin you've got to screw back in. So that goes in there, and this retaining pin goes through the top here, so you can see that, and it holds it all together. So I'll quickly pop that back together and then I'll do the next segment. Okay, there's that bit put all back together. So nozzle, spring is there, that's retained by that pin. When you reinstall this pin, make sure it's not sticking out the bottom there too much, because you can screw it quite far in and there'll be a small bit that sticks out, which is going to give you some complications where it's not doing what it should be. So here, the rubber piece that we took off earlier, back over the top. It just pops on there, and that is the nozzle with the MK2 fitted again. The next bit is just literally installing it into the bolt carrier grip, which isn't a huge task. The most annoying bit of it is, anyone who's done one of these before, is this little spring. It decides to fly out all over the place most of the time, so you have to be a bit careful with it when you're installing it. So this, make sure you put it up the right way. So the screw here is facing upwards. Get that through here. You have to jiggle it a little bit through the small hole. Get that through. Get an Allen key. You see there is a small hole there on the nozzle, not the nozzle, the return spring. I get that through there, and you can pull it back a little bit so you can put this retainer from the bolt carrier group back on. So that will go in there, and that will stop it flying off. So that's that situated in there nicely. After that is the frustrating bit of putting this back on here. So that slides into here. I feel like I need to have some kind of background music while doing this, because this is god awfully boring. I need elevator music. Right, that goes in there. And then comes the fiddly bit. Let's see if we can do this first time. If not, I'm gonna pause this and I'll come back with it reinstalled. So this little spring sits in this plastic bit here. This bit is quite flexible. Don't go nuts, but it's not gonna break under a tiny bit of pressure. So you've got a little bit of movement to get this back in there. I've seen lots of people do this in different ways. This way I find the easiest, which is literally getting it onto the little notch in there, and then getting a small flathead screwdriver and kind of hitting it home kind of thing. Is that in? No, not yet. Come on. Oh, look at that, first time, lovely. Right, so that's there. You can see this is in because this bit, you can push it, it will have a slight bit of movement because that is a very stiff spring. Then once that's done, these screws go back into the top of the bolt carrier, which hold everything together. These don't have to be like torqued down, these are just hand tight. Don't over screw them because you will just strip the threads. Let's put that one. Right, so that is the bolt carrier with the MK2 reassembled with the new return spring. You can hear straight away it's a lot more snappy and less twangy than the stock one, which is great. So the stock parts, so Reese wants to have these in a little bag, so all the spare bits are in here, including with the dynamic precision sets. There are some smaller springs in there as well, which are spare, which are handy. So this can all go into a little bag full of spare bits for him. So that's that, that's all reinstalled. Next part is probably the easiest parts of it. So spring time. So in the back of an MWS, you have a buffer and a buffer spring, which you have to push down on this little tab to release it, and then all that comes out. So stock spring. Oh my God, they really have lubed this well. So this is the stock buffer and stock spring. When you get another buffer spring, such as this one, which is the 110% one, it will have a sticker on the top, which will tell you where the buffer needs to be. So this one goes in like that, and that's how it's going to be situated back into the gun. However, we are going to be adding into the buffer tube a puck, which is, you can do this with, I think it's 10 or 10 Ps into the buffer tube. I've done it before. I didn't particularly like it because I could hear, like, you know, once you hear something you can't unhear it, and I heard like a little, like, you know, sound like a change purse in my buffer tube, and it annoyed me. Some people said they couldn't even hear it. I heard it. Once you've heard it once, yeah. So I'm using this, which is the Jaeger Precision puck, which is a short stroke for buffer slightly. So that's going to go in here before we put in the spring. Try and get the right angle on it. There we go. So that'll just slide down to the bottom there. What that does, one, it will give you a little bit more of a snappy rate of fire because the spring's got less, less room to move. And two, it's going to stop your bolt over traveling. So with the stock TM, this bolt situates itself inside here. When you fire, it goes back into the buffer tube. So if you have something in the back stopping it from going all the way, it's going to stop it from going too far. And what you have to be careful of is you can't put too many in there because you still want your bolt to lock. So I tend to use that particular size because that gives it enough, but not too much. So we're going to whack this spring back into here. I'll go straight down there. Okay, there's that. Then this can go straight back into the gun. There. You have to push on your buffer a little bit just to get the gun back together. There we go. And that will put back together. You can tell straight away the return's a little bit more snappy. Right, next bit is we're gonna see what the power is like. And I'm just gonna get some more gas and some ammo, and I'll see you in the next bit. Okay, right, so that's this ready. So mag, 3 2s and gas in it. Just make sure it's not one in the chamber. Don't think there is. No, so on semi with 3 2s, this is now at incredibly low, so these were just the nappers. So that was firing at 0.88 joules. So that is not what we want it higher than that. So we whittle this back out. And with the MPAS, it comes with a small Allen key, which goes into your nozzle here. There we go. Right. And this is the one fiddly bit about the Ratec one. You have to kind of put something else into the nozzle whilst you're twisting it to hold it still. So we want to open up the MPAS because it's pretty much closed at the minute, judging by that FPS reading. So I will just adjust this and we'll get back to the chrono test. Right, after some fiddling, like I say, the Reassembling MK2 is it's quite a fiddly bit of kit, but it does work and it doesn't adjust like once you've done it. So that's all in here. Chrono test, 3 2s, bang, 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 bang. Ooh, rolling back at me. There's BB's kind of rolling back out of my little homemade device, but yeah, so this is now set to 1.11 joules, and that is on black gas. So that's for obviously the colder months. So that's going to be less if you put green gas into it. However, you can just adjust the MK2 again. So it swings around. I quite like running black gas because I still like the punchiness. But obviously when it gets to summer, the pressure's going to be a bit high and the knocker valve probably isn't going to release. So you want to go down to green. But what I'm going to do now is quick rate of fire test after we've short stroked it, put the new spring in. So let's see what we've got now. Bingies everywhere. I'm actually going to try that with a fresh mag because that reading says it's firing 26 joules. It might be slightly illegal. Right. Fair. 19.1. So slightly more punchiness than before for the rate of fire, which is quite nice. I was aiming for around, you know, the 20 mark, but I didn't want to short stroke it too much, because if you short stroke it too much, then you can have issues with your bolt release not catching. So I'll play it safe. But yeah, so that's, even after that, bursts on full auto, it's still at 1.03. So it's only lost a tiny bit of power. What I'll quickly do is just take some rounds out of this mag. Just to do a quick function check on the bolt release. Make sure there's nothing in here. Right, okay. So as for function check on the bolt release, perfect. Snappy, love it. So that's bang on the kind of limit we want. And rate of fire, pretty much what I was kind of going for. I think I was about 2 RPS off, which, you know, it's not bad, it's not bad. I'll quickly show barrel length on this. So I did want a crazy jet barrel going all the way to the tip. The closest I found was this one, just a tiny bit over, but you're not really going to see that once you've got your flash hider on anyway. So let's pop this back over here. Bosh, bosh. And that's that. So that's all ready to go. So a quick rundown of the parts we've got in here. So we've got the Maple Leaf, Crazy Jet in the barrel. We've got the Flamingo 60 hot rubber. We've got the Strike arm in there as well. The Bavtech Zep plate in here. The 110% buffer tube spring in the back. And what else have we done? So we've got the Dynamic Precision nozzle return spring in there. We've got what have we got? Not Dynamic Precision. Guns Modify. We've got the Guns Modify nozzle in there as well with the Reassembling MK2, and that is I'd say a pretty solid all-round CPBR build. I think Reese is going to go for maybe later on the bolt carrier grip that I have in mine, which is the Guns Modify Evo bolt carrier, which is really good for like colder weather. But for now, this will be down. Obviously, it's getting warmer now. Gas blowbacks are going to be a lot more fun to use. And I mean, let's face it, everyone just likes to pop into a room and just like making something loud. It's really fun. Gas efficient as fuck. All done for you, mate. We'll sort out some postage and get this out to you soon. Guys, if anyone else wants one done, paint jobs, custom builds, let me know. Peace.